What is your view of the China-U.S. relationship?
So this will be the most important relationship in the world for the next 100 years. I think it's incumbent upon both of us to try to do a good job with it. I think that the administration has laid out very important things about trade. And I think the business community is supportive. They were not totally before. And I think the business community can get very selfish sometimes when it comes to like trade. Well, this is good for me, my company. But America, the stealing of IP, reciprocal investment rights, tariffs, non-tariff barriers, subsidies of state-owned enterprise, this has to be fixed. I think China knows and is serious. So now you have serious people on both sides who are actually listening to each other and talking. And you read what's in the press today, or in the last couple of days. Secretary Mnuchin is meeting with the senior ministers of China next week. I think next week or maybe this week, and that's important. In addition to that is all the other geopolitical stuff. Americans should understand that China has the right to grow itself and be proud of itself and want to regain its rightful spot on the planet. That does not mean you have to have a natural conflict. And for those of you who don't go to China, they have serious issues too. So take America. We have all the food, war, and energy we need. Our neighbors are wonderful, Canada and Mexico. We have not had a war with Mexico since 1848. We're pretty lucky. There's no war in North America, South America. If you go to China, their neighbors are North Korea, South Korea, Philippines, Japan, Indonesia, Vietnam, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, and Russia. They don't have enough food, war, and energy. They have 500 million people living in poverty. They don't have a rule of law. They talk about their own corruption. They don't have our institutions. They don't have the depth and transparency of our financial markets writ large, venture capital, private equity. They don't have the university system we have. They don't have the innovative culture we have. They have a long way to go. So this notion that somehow it's automatic success, that's not right. What we should be doing is working with them together to make it a better planet for everybody. The other thing about China, by the way, they've never been expansionary. If you go back 2,000 years, China was never invading its neighbors. Now, that was not true of Italy, Greece, most of the European nations. Okay, that's not the way they are. So, I think it could be worked out, but it's going to take serious people working hard on it.
But how severe is the current slowdown in China?
It is a slowdown. So you've had economically, we kind of had Goldilocks in October. We're going to 3%. Things feel good. Inflation out of control. The Fed's raising rates gently. You had global growth in Japan and Europe and China. And now you had a slowdown. Now, I think it's probably a slowdown as opposed to, we're on our way to a deep recession. So even the IMF thinks we'll have global growth like 2.7 to 2.9 next year, down from 3.5. That was their prior projection. America, the shutdown, looks like it could be growing to 2 to 2.5%. Japan's growing a little bit, but there was a slowdown. And China is probably the most serious one. And the one with more ramifications for the rest of the world, because China growth of 5%, is $600 billion a year of GDP growth of the world. Now, the thing about China is they have the wherewithal. They owe the money in their country to themselves. They can macro-manage in a way you can't do in the United States. There are 7 people who control the nation. They're quite capable. They're quite competent. They simply say, you're going to lend to you. You're going to hire people. You're going to build that bridge. And it kind of works. It'll work for another 5 years or 10 years. They can macro-manage. And they have the wherewithal to recapitalize their banks if there's a problem in the financial system, which there probably is. And so they're trying to work that through to keep jobs, peace, prosperity. So my view is that they'll accomplish that the next couple of years. There will be a point, and I've said this to my board, and I don't know if it's 3 years or 10 years out, where they will have more serious consequences when they have market reform. You can't tell people not to sell stock in most parts of the world. The Chinese do. And so they can do things we can't. So I think they'll have issues as they become a more fully developed nation. And I think they understand that too, by the way.